Alright lads, so Omnath here, Omnath Locus of All, is supposed to be Omnath Locus of Hydras, isn't he? That's what I told you, didn't I? I said, this is my Hydra deck. What a liar. I was so full of shit. He only has 10 Hydras. The deck only has 10 Hydras. What kind of Hydra deck only? That's not a Hydra, that's a snake. I mean, it goes with the theme. It's kind of like a Hydra, but it's not. It's a fucking snake. And I was goldfishing it, testing the draws, seeing how things work. And it's not really satisfactory because I don't have a lot of kill cards. So, what is this deck supposed to be? What do I want to do? What am I trying to achieve here? Why is it going to be fun to play, and how do I want to win? Well, originally, and look, there's 3 of them in a row. 3 of the 10. Yes, 10 in a Hydra deck. It's supposed to be Hydras. And why did I do that? It's because I thought it'd be fun to have creatures that, if mid-game, late-game, if I've got the mana, I can pump them out and make a big creature. Early game, I can put them out as small creatures and then build them up over time, incrementally. So I can either go big bang, dump 12 mana and make this a 9/9 trampler. Or I could cast it on, say, turn 4 if I've got rocks or acceleration, if I ramped correctly, and play it as even a 1/1 or a 2/2 for 5, and then build it up from there. Right? That's one of the possible ideas. But there aren't enough Hydras. There aren't enough kill cards. There's a lot of support. Like Nin is kind of support. Ashling, kind of a support card. Kind of a threatening a board wipe. 1 in a red, 1/1 elemental. Spend 1 red, give her +1/+1 on counter. Okay, if I do that 3 times, all the counters come off, and she burns everything, including herself, for that much damage. So she's a one-shot, unless I can get her back somehow. So I spent a couple days, thought about, what am I trying to achieve with this deck? What do I want to do? And really, what I want to do, what I think I should do, is one of 2 things. Either spend a lot more money and buy a lot more Hydras. In fact, I made a Magic Card market list. So I looked up on Gather Hydras, and I recorded about 15 interesting ones, including Savageborn. But I don't want to spend... I've got a shitload of cards. I don't need to spend any more money right now. I can do that later. So right now, what I need to do is figure out how I want to take the build-up package. Oh, and Walking Ballista. I definitely want a Walking Ballista. And Ultra Herman, I think it was, said I should get a Sword of Truth and Justice. Sword of Truth and Justice is one of the swords of this and that. 3 to cast, 2 to equip, gives creature +2/+2, protection from blue and white in this case. And when their creature connects, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and you proliferate. So, yeah, that would be really good for this deck. You know what else would be good for this deck? Kenrith, their turn king. He does everything this deck wants to do. Which isn't really surprising, because my first experience was Omnath. So I took this out of my Kenrith deck. My Eldieth has it's this card. It's the buy a box, sitting on the throne, looking chill, Kenrith, but in Russian. So I'm going to get Kenrith the Returned Tsar, and he's going to be the commander of my Kenrith deck. So this Kenrith, this copy, can go into Omnath, which is kind of fitting because my Kenrith deck has Omnath in it. That's where I found out about Omnath, is because I play it in Kenrith. So it's kind of fitting to have Kenrith working for Omnath when Omnath also works for Kenrith. And the decks are kind of mirroring each other. Both of them want Kenrith for some of the same reasons. some different reasons. So the Kenrith deck, after the initial build and my initial testing of it, in play and gold fishing, I decided to lean into the black ability. 4 and black, put target creature from graveyard onto the battlefield under owner's control. So my Kenrith, now, I forget, I don't know what it's going to sound like in Russian. I need to learn how to say, maybe it is just Kenrith. Kenrith, the Return Tsar. Something like that. So it's a reanimator deck, resurrector deck, Kenrith the Resurrector. And I leaned into that. But Omnath, I'm leaning more into the put +1/+1 counter on target creature and the trample and haste. So in Omnath, those two abilities will be more important. Given that, what I want to do is make this kind of a zoo deck. So take out some of the stuff that doesn't really work, some of the stuff that just sits around and does nothing, and add more. For example, Polakranos, World Eater, can go back in. 4 mana for a 5/5 with Monstrous. That actually works better with my new idea than with the previous idea. The other thing is, this does nothing a lot of the times. So unless I have some interesting creatures to proliferate, because I don't have poison counters, I'm not doing poison, the deck has no planeswalkers, so for me to proliferate whenever I cast a spell, it's hit and miss. Otherwise, a 5-mana enchantment that does nothing else in this deck, it's a wasted slot. If I was doing planeswalkers, if I was doing poison, then that would be more interesting, but I'm not, so I took that out for more interaction. So, Stroke of Midnight, 2 and a white, instantly blow up a non-land permanent. Its controller gets a 1/1 human, which is not going to be a fair trade, but at least they get something. And let's look at the rest of the deck. What else should I take out to go for the new direction? So lands, I will not bother taking out because I need land. This guy is Stonecoil Serpent, so I can play him. And I will keep enough proliferate, enough, and Kenrith, he 1 in the green, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, so perfect. So I can play this on turn 2, reach trample protection from multicolored, and then I can build him up later. So he stays. That stays. Dawn's Truce, protection, it stays, so I can give myself and my permanents hexproof until end of turn, which is nice because somebody's going to. I was thinking of putting, and I still might, put Greater Good in the deck. Greater Good is an enchantment that costs 2 colorless green, and at any time you want, you get a little itch and you want to kill something. You can sacrifice one of your own creature you control, draw cards equal to its power, and then discard 3 cards. So I thought of putting that in as a way of, somebody's going to wipe the board, I can at least get some cards out of it. But I'm not sure I want to do that. One, if I'm putting a lot of stuff in the graveyard, being me, being the way I play, being the way my mates see me, as soon as I have more than 2 cards in my graveyard, people want to Bojuka Bog me. But Dawn's Truce would give me hexproof. So just for that reason alone, it would stay. In fact, I should get one for Kenrith. Because Kenrith, since I am intentionally putting big scary creatures in the graveyard, and everybody can see that, oh shit, for 5 mana, he can put Avacyn, Archangel of fuck you, back into play at instant speed? Yeah, we better hit his graveyard. So I should get a Dawn's Truce for Kenrith, the Kenrith deck. Land that stays, Nin the Pain Artist. So she combos with, I'll just wait till I get it so I can talk about the combo. So when scrying, go find a land, show it up in your hand. The deck is black light. So Omnath is a 5-color commander. It's a 5-color deck. But it's very different to Kenrith because Omnath is leaning into non-basic lands. Kenrith, his shtick is he only has 3 non-basic lands, and the rest are basics. He has 35 basics. Omnath is almost the exact opposite. Like I said, mirror. I'm accepting having 2 5-color EDH decks when I didn't want to duplicate a color combination I already have. But if the decks mirror each other and they don't step on each other's toes too much, then I'm happy doing it. So this black here, it's fitting that it's Phyrexian mana, that I don't need black to cast Omnath, because the way the deck is built, if I put in Kenrith, the only cards that require black, besides, not even, the only cards that require black, are Kenrith for his Resurrection ability, and Vault of the Archangel. That's it. I have 2 I don't have any black cards in the deck. I don't have an Animate Dead. I don't have a Braids Cabal Minion. I don't have what else is a Maskworm? Definitely not a Maskworm, because that's 3 black, so no. But I do have Cabal Coffers, because if I get the coffers out, then I don't care about having non-basic, no sources of black from no swamps. So that solves the problem. And since I have Urborg, I might as well have coffers. Why not? They just go together. So this will stay. Land. Do I want Ashling? Do I want to threaten this ability? Now remember, if I have some other way of putting counters on it, if I put 3 counters off, pull them off Forgotten Ancient and put them on Ashling, it will not trigger. She will just get bigger. She only triggers if her ability resolves 3 times. That's it. So to trigger her ability, I need 3 red and 3 men of any other color. And then of course I need the desire to do it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep Ashling, so I'll set it to the side. Stingmage. Oh yeah, he's dying. 3 in red, comes with like 2+1/+1 encounters, and I can blow up an artifact or land. You know, the lads started to discover the joys of playing, as the genie calls them, bullshit lands. Cube is really starting to see how Cabal Coffers and Urborg are nice. So Stingmage can take out that coffers if Cube is playing as a Massacre Girl deck. Sun Titan, he can get back a lot of stuff. And if I put counters on him afterwards, you know, he's already 6/6, make him bigger, why not? So he stays. Braid of Fire. Actually, to be honest, putting Kenrith in the deck makes this an even better card, because all these abilities are instants. Yeah, the first one. So if I do this during my upkeep, anybody that I play during my main phase, they're not getting the haste because they didn't see it happen. They missed their chance. Sucks to be you. Try again next turn, unless I activate it again. But it does give me more mana for the colorless cost in the other abilities. So with Kenrith, Braid of Fire is actually better. Apocalypse Hydra. If I play him as a 1/1 and then build him up later, that's okay, because, you know, 1 in a red, I can still remove counters and deal damage. I will still retain ways of putting counters on the creatures. Or if I pay 7 and he comes to play as a 10/10, then that's good too. So it gives me that flexibility. Either get him down early if I know I'm going to be able to counter him up, or save it and play it later for big. Deep Glow Skate. Fantastic. Now the thing is, the deck doesn't have any bounce. I don't have any cards that return a creature to my hand. I don't have many ways of killing my own creatures, so Kenny can resurrect them. So I'm thinking of putting in a Conjurer's Closet. I'm thinking of putting in other sacrifice outlets, of course, there's the aforementioned Greater Good. But if I Greater Good, Deep Blue Skate, okay. So I draw 3 cards, I discard 3 cards. That won't feel right. I won't like that. So I have to think about that. But anyway, to double the counters, yeah, I do want that. Skag, Le Fosse de Vege, tap it for 1 colorless or green-red. Target creature gets +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. I don't know if I need that. I don't know if I want to do that. I'll think about it because I will have other ways of giving my creatures trample. I will have other ways of beefing them up. And I need to eliminate some of the colorless lands because it became obvious, painfully obvious in my goldfish testing, I need colored mana. The deck is hungry for colors. So that might come out for something. Doubling season? Well, if I'm still keeping a bunch of the Hydras, if I've got Kenny, yeah, doubling the counters on the creatures is probably a good idea. Speaking of doubling the counters, so Renata, Called to the Hunt. She'll stay, because if I get her down on turn 3 or 4, then every creature I play subsequently will come to play with double +1/+. For example, Apocalypse Hydra. Let's say I get Renata on turn 3. I ramped correctly, she comes to play on turn 3. Turn 4, I play Apocalypse Hydra for 4. It has 2 +1/+ encounters. She'll give it another +1/+. She'll make it a 3/3, which is better than a 2/2. Of course, if I have doubling season, it'll be a 6/6. So she incrementally beats everybody up. Plus, with Sun Titan, if I have Renata out in Sun Titan, I can bring it into play or attack with Sun Titan, and I can bring back one of the Hydras, and if she's in play, it'll come into play with a +1/+ encounter. Otherwise, it would die. So she makes things work a little bit better. Shelai, Voice of Plenty. So me, my dudes, and there are no planeswalkers, so who cares? All get hexproof, so she's really good. And again, put +1/+ encounters on every creature I control. So she fits the theme of the deck. She fits the idea of playing things early and then building them up as I go. Same with this. I don't know if I'm really going to want this until I get more Hydras. So I'm going to set this to the side. Command Tower, yeah, I definitely fucking need that. Hydroid Crisis. So this guy, because he's got a come into play trigger, if I play him for 4 mana, and he comes into play as a 2/2, I get 1 card and 1 life. Not really the best. So this is one of those cards that really only is good if I can wait. Clone Hydra, yeah, double the number of +1/+ encounters on your creatures for 5 mana. Yeah, fuck it, that stays. Ozolith. Now, if I do put in the Conjurer's Closet, if I've got the Ozolith doesn't care how the creature left the battlefield. It doesn't give a shit. It's just, hey, something went away. It had counters. Give them to me. So, if I put something through the closet as counters, Ozolith gets them. And of course, closet triggers at the end of my turn. So, at the beginning of combat on my next turn, it would get those counters. I can move them from the Ozolith. Now, if I put in Blink or something I can use during my first main phase, if I can blink or bounce a creature, and there's a lot of ways to do that. I just have to think of how I want to do it. But there's a lot of ways to actually execute the plan. Then it would have counters, and at the beginning of combat on my turn, I can move them on to something else. So I think the Ozolith should stay. Land. Mage Slayer. I'm thinking of taking this out for a what the hell is it called? Reaver Cleaver. So I really want to play this somewhere. I should give it to Corvold, actually, because Mage Slayer, 1 green-red, equip 3. Alright. Whenever equipped creature attacks, the creature, deals damage equal to its power defending. So if I give it to a deck where I'm going to be attacking with the commander, if I give it to Corvold, it's Corvold doing the damage with the Mage Slayer, not the Mage Slayer doing the damage. So if I attack somebody and Corvold is, say, an 11/11, which is not outside the realm of possibility, I've seen it happen, and if they can't block, then they take 11 damage from the Mage Slayer trigger when it attacks, and then they take 11 damage from Corvold crashing into them and die. So I'm going to take this out and give it to Corvold. Master Biomancer. So this is another way of playing my Hydras, my X creatures for very little, but still having some benefit. So if he's in play, I can play the Stonecoil Serpent for... Can I play it for 0? Yeah. Oh my god. That'd be so fucking cool. Let's say I've got Master Biomancer and Doubling Season out. I can play Stonecoil Serpent for free. For nothing. And it would be a 4/4. If he doesn't have any plus and plus, if he's only a 2/2, and I've got the Doubling Season to him out, so I play Stonecoil Serpent for 0. It comes into play with 2 plus and plus encounters because of his power in the Doubling Season. So I would get a free 4/4 with Trample, Reach, Protection from multi. That sounds pretty funny. I like that. Guided Passage. I just want to play it. It's a funny card. Lifeblood Hydra. Now, the triple green could be a problem. But again, I could play it for if in the same scenario. I've got Master Biomancer out, or Doubling Season, or Renata. I can play this earlier to get it down and then start building it up with Kenrith, with other effects. Okay, Gargos. If I don't have that many Hydras, it's really not much point in playing her. I mean, 6 mana for 87 Vigilance, that's not bad. And whenever creature I control becomes target of a spell, she fights another creature. That can be, but as it is right now, with only 9 other Hydras, and maybe I might take other, her position is not justified. Apollo Kranos would probably be better. Hydra Omnivore. 4 green. Now, Mage Slayer and Omnivore do not work. Well, it works in that somebody's taking 8 damage, but to deal that much damage to each other opponent, the Omnivore has to connect. It has to deal combat damage. Mage Slayer is an attack trigger, not combat damage. So if you were thinking of that, it's a fun idea, but it doesn't really work. But anyway, 6 mana for an 8/8. Then that in of itself is okay. Eternal Witness comes into play. Return target card graveyard to your hand. Maybe I want her, maybe I don't, because I also have Evolution Witness. So let's set her to the side. Forest. Growing Rites of Itlimoc. Okay, this is going to become a zoo deck. So I'm going to put in more creatures, and look at the top. When it comes to play, look at the top 4 cards of your library. I can show off a creature from among them, put it in my hand, and the rest go on the bottom. And then if I have 4 creatures at the end of my turn, it turns into Guy's Cradle. So the essentially scry 4 and then Cradle, that's worth the slot. Land. Experiment Cry. Now, do I want him in this deck? So I can just tap him and put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. Just tap him. And he has activated... The big unknown is the activated abilities of other creatures with a +1/+1 counter on it. Am I really going to see enough creatures with interesting activated abilities that I will want to do it? And it's one of those questions, it entirely depends on what my opponents are playing, what some of the other cards I have do. So just because of the unknown, I don't know how good or bad, how relevant or irrelevant this is going to be. I'll leave it in so I can try it, so I can see how it works. Swiftfoot Boots. So I've got Boots instead of Greaves. Kenrith was not originally the deck, but having him in here makes the Greaves even less desirable than the Boots, because the creature has hexproof. So Kenrith targets the creature to give it a +1/+1 counter. So if I have the Boots, I can target the creature to give it a counter and make it bigger. Land, land, land. Herald. So Herald here, my creature's +1/+1 counters on them cannot be blocked. Well, that's still a theme of the deck, so he should stay. Land, land, land. Primordial Hydra. Even if I play him for 4 and he's a 2/2, then he's a 4/4, and then if he survives, then so on and so forth. And in between turns, I'll be trying to put additional counters on it to make it bigger, to get to that 10 as quickly as possible in order for it to get trampled. So that is interesting enough to stay. Definitely a good kill card. Land, land, land. Hunting Moa. Do I want this? Okay. 2 and a green for a 3/2. Comes into play. Puts a +1/+1 counter on target creature. When it dies, it has Echo, so it's going to die pretty quickly, because I'm probably not going to want to soak up 3 mana to keep a 3/2 bird. When it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on the same or another target creature. Kenrith actually makes this more interesting, because actually he doesn't, because do I want to pay 5 and resurrect this, or do I want to pay 1 and a green and do this and put a +1/+1 counter on something? Sun Titan is good with this guy, with this bird, but I'm not sure I want it, so I'll put it in the maybe pile. Land, 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 land. Okay, so here's the combo. Here's the dynamic duo. Nin Man, Nin Woman, and Vigor. So Vigor, if damage is dealt to creature I control other than him, prevent the damage, and that creature gets a +1/+1 counter for each 1 damage prevented this way. And he's a 6/6 trample. Nin says, spend a little mana and hurt a creature. That creature's controller draws X cards. So if Vigor's in play and Nin is in play and she's ready to go, if I can tap her, she's ready to be tapped. Giggity. I can hurt one of my own creatures, draw X cards, and Vigor says, yeah, she didn't hurt that creature, I'm going to make it bigger. So they work together. Work together nicely. They stay. Alright. Put +1/+1 counters on my creatures. Yep. Land, land, land. Shapers of Nature. It's kind of expensive. Now, it's cheap to get out, but it is 4 mana for a +1/+1 counter. Sometimes that might be okay. Sometimes that might be more than I want to invest into it. But I want to try it. I want to see how it works. And then also, 2 and a blue, pull a +1/+1 counter off a creature I control, draw a card, instant speed. So let's leave that there for right now. Contagion Engine, 6, comes into play. Put a -1/-1 counter each creature target player controls. And then 4 tap proliferate again. So this kind of it's the big brother of Contagion Clasp. So let's look at those, because I'm probably going to take one of those out. Okay, Contagion Clasp, it costs half as much and only puts a -1/-1 counter on one creature and then proliferates. So I'm going to take out the Clasp, even though it comes down on turn 2, comes down faster, for the engine, and use it as like a board wipe. Especially against tokens. Now, by the time I get it out, by the time I have 6 mana, typically the tokens will have some kind of buff, something. So maybe this will work, maybe it won't, but it will definitely take a little bit of the wind out of my opponent's sails, because it will make somebody's creature smaller. So I'll keep that in. I'll take out the Clasp. Skyshard Claim, ramp. I need ramp, land. Do I want to keep the Ion Storm? 2 in a red for an enchantment. 1 in a red, pull a +1/+1 counter off a creature I control. It deals 2 damage to our creature player. So I spend 2 mana, I pull a +1/+1 counter off something, and I get to shock something. Having that sit around seems to be a good idea. It's something I want to experiment with, to play with, to see how it works. So I'll keep that in there. Land, Fertilid. Comes to play 2 +1/+1. This is part of the ramp suite. So 2 in a green, comes to play as a 2/2. 1 in green, take away one of his counters. Target player searches their library for basic land, puts in play tapped. So I can use it politically. Hey, you look like you're kind of stuck for land. If I let you go find a land, let's make a deal and you'll do something for me. I can do that sort of thing, or I can get my own land. And if I'm putting more counters on it, I can get more land. Archmage, she is the only counter spell in the deck. So for that reason alone, she stays. Orm's Thunder. Now if I make it a zoo deck, I probably want to put in Reclamation Sage. Reclamation Sage, of course, 2 in a green, 2/1 elf, comes into play, blow up an artifact or enchantment. But it's nice to be able to do this at instant speed. So if I need to do it, and I only have 3 mana, I can do it and simply destroy an artifact or enchantment. If I have the red to pay the kicker, then I get to hurt a creature too. Maybe kill it, maybe just hurt it real bad. I don't know. It's worth keeping in. Comeuppance, the part of the protection suite. And that's my play group. They like Blasphemous Act. So Comeuppance, 3 in a white. Instantly prevent all damage to be dealt to you and planeswalkers. Dealt to you and planeswalkers control this. Okay, I didn't read this right. It doesn't protect my creatures. Prevent all damage dealt to me and planeswalkers. Shit. Why didn't I read this more carefully? It doesn't do anything against Blasphemous Act. It doesn't do anything to help my creatures. It does things. I'm going to take this out and put it into Fairy's Protection. Tempered Discovery, ramp, land, Inspiring Call. Instantly draw a card for a creature control with +++ counter on it. By the time I cast it, I should have a few. It should get me 3 or 4 cards, which is nice, and those creatures get indestructible, which is nice. Maybe there's another ramp card that's better than Secure Tribe Elder, but I am running Sun Titan, so could work. Alright, Gloom Tender is expensive. This guy, foil, is cheaper than a non-foil, a flat Gloom Tender, so he's here. 1 green-white comes into play. He's +1/+1 for each color among permanents I control, so he's a 2/2. Omnath hits the board. He's a 5/5, and I can tap, add 5 mana. So he scales along with the more colors, more scaling. Mindless Automaton. This is a card draw, and this has worked before in this kind of deck. Worked very well before, so that will stay. hollow. Okay, Thrumming Bird. I'm not sure if I want Thrumming Bird, because it has to connect. It has to connect, proliferate. And I think I want to put in something more aggressive. Questing Beast, for example. So I'm going to put that in a maybe pile. Ramp. Play more lands. Solve my color problem. All for the price of 3 mana. Yeah, you stay, baby, you stay. Alright, with that, I need to take a break for a little while. Alright, let's wrap this up. So, where I finished was on Terastodon, as you're looking at here. Lovely Terastodon indeed. So, I'm not sure if I want to keep this. It does cost 8 mana to cast. But, he is a 9/9. And when it comes into play, he blows up 3 things. Of course, all, okay, I can blow up my own stuff too if I want to. It's important to remember that because it could be that you've got some of these say opponents. When it comes into play, blow up something an opponent controls. Some just say, like this guy, you can blow up 3 things. Doesn't matter who controls it. For each one blown up this way, its controller gets a 3/3 elephant. Yay. So, do I want to keep this guy in this deck or not? I've got the Defense of the Heart to get him out quicker. I'm thinking about putting Mari's Wake, that'll double my mana production. I'm not sure. Let's put him in the maybe. Land. Oh, she's staying. Oh, fuck it, she's staying. Doing green for 2/1. A Witness. So, unlike Eternal Witness, that comes into play and does your thing and gets you something back, anything back, sorcery, instant, plain, she doesn't give a shit. She just, here's something back out of the graveyard, Daddy. Am I a good girl? And you say, oh, baby, you are a good girl. I love you. This chick, so, she waits until she gets counters. She needs to get paid before she'll pull something out of the graveyard for you. She comes into play and just looks at you with her hands on her hips. Says, you gotta pay, bitch. You gonna give me a counter? No counter, no action, Daddy. That's it. So until you give her some action and give her a +1/+1 counter, you don't get shit back. And even then, she will not touch instants. She will not touch sorceries. She says, permanents only. Fuck off. So she's kind of picky, but she does what she does, and she does it reliably. As long as you keep giving those counters, she'll keep pulling permanents back. So she's like, Big Daddy, I ain't touching no instants, I ain't touching no sorceries. None of that shit, no. But I'll pick up all your creatures for you, Daddy. You just gotta pay, girl. Give me those counters. Oh, yeah. So give her those counters. Oh, yeah. Molten Hydra, 1 in a red for a 1/1 Hydra. Which, you know, not one of the X Hydras. It is Hydra in the deck, but it's not one of the ones that really you think of when you think of Hydras, is it? Nope. So it comes down as a 1/1. For 3, you can give it a +1/+1 counter. Of course, for every 3 you have, you can just keep doing it. But realistically, you're going to have 6 and give it 2 +1/+1 counters, which is it feels like a waste of mana. Because Kenny could give it 3 counters for 6. Because Kenny shaves off one of those colored mana pips. But what this little son of a bitch does is you can tap it, pull off all of its +1/+1 counters, and it deals 1 damage to a creature or player for each counter removed this way. So you don't get, you can't tap it, take off, let's say it has 8. You can't tap it, take off 3, and lightning bolt something. No, they all have to come off. But you don't have to target the same creature. So if it has 8 counters, and there's this 3/3 you want to kill, and this 2/2 you want to kill, and this 2/2 you want to kill, you say, okay, take off 8 counters, 3 to that, 2 to that, 2 to that, and 1 to your face, motherfucker. And there you go. So I think this should stay, because this is actually better with all the counter stuff I have. I really don't want to pay 3 mana to give it the counters. And it is nice that it just taps to do all the damage. So it's pretty cool. If I could give it Vigilance, I'd probably be better at it though. Sapphire Drake, 6 mana for 4 for a flyer. Wow. That is alpha, beta, unlimited level of efficient. That is good. Not. But he gives other shit. Each creature control with a +1/+1 counter on his flying. Sorry about the. I was just tired. Tired and thinking of some funny way to say this, and I failed. But anyway, who gives a shit? So, this motherfucker comes into play. Each creature control with a +1/+1 counter on it has flying. So, the idea is, again, put +1/+1 counters on all my creatures. They all get flying, they all can smash face and make people cry. Genesis Hydra. Green X. Whenever I cast it, reveal the top X cards in my library. I can put a non-land permanent with CMC X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle the rest in your library. So it does its thing when you cast it. So you need to cast it for big. I'm not sure if I want this, because I can see casting it for big once, but if I can't use Sun Titan to bring it back, because it won't do its thing. If Kenny brings it back, and I've got, say, Master Biomancer in play, so it doesn't die, it comes into play as a 2/2, it still won't do its thing, because it's only on cast. So I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. Alright, Fathom Mage. 2 blue-green for a 1/1 human wizard with Evolve. Whenever she gets a +1/+1 counter, she'll let you draw a card. So she's kind of like the Eternal Witness. She's going to work for you, but she's got to get paid. She's got to get those counters. Got to make that cheddar. Get that cash counter, baby. So if you put 3 counters on her, you get 3 cards. Makes Forgotten Ancient pretty damn good. So she's staying because I am retaining a lot of ways of putting counters on the creatures. Defense of the Heart. 3 into green. Beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent has 3 or more creatures, you can sacrifice this, search the library for 2 creature cards, put them into play immediately, and then shuffle. And then do shit with those creatures. Viral Drake. 3 in a blue for 1/4 infect. 3 in a blue proliferate. Yeah, it's okay, but I think the proliferate, I already have to have the counter, so I'm taking that out. Gateway Plaza, that's good enough for now. Arcane Signet. Oolashed, the Hate Seed. This son of a bitch. 2 in a green. Comes into play with a +1/+1 counter for each other red and or green creature I control. Doesn't count himself, which kind of makes sense. So he comes into play, looks around. I've got 3 green creatures. Okay, 3 counters. I've got 2 red creatures. Okay, 5 counters. I've got a green-red creature. Okay, 6 counters. Comes to play 6 counters, and he's a happy little bastard. Although he still hates, because he is the hate seed. But he's a happy little hate seed, because he's a 6/6 motherfucker. 1. Remove a +1/+1 counter from Ulished, the happy little hate seed motherfucker. I can deal 1 damage target creature, or put a 1/1 green sapling creature token into play. So that's another way of dealing direct damage. And if I can keep putting counters on him, and I've got the mana to spend, then I can keep doing it, so he'll stay. Forgotten Ancient. 3 into green, whenever a player casts a spell, any player, any spell, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Forgotten Ancient. Don't forget, that's why he's Forgotten Ancient, because people forget. That's why it says may, because you forget, you don't get a counter. Nope, you missed it, fuck off. Wait till the next spell, maybe you remember. Probably not. Beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of +1/+1 counters from Forgotten Ancient on to other creatures. Notice it doesn't target. Notice that it doesn't say you have to take off all, move them up like the Ozolith. No, you just distribute them any way you want. You can just pass out counters like Halloween candy. It's fantastic. And then Seedborn Muse. She is now a, what do they call it? Game changer. She's now a game changer, which Evgeny said she's too powerful for a casual deck. The genie said, Seedborn Muse is not a casual card, how dare I play it? And I answered him with, you play Varensilix, so shut it. And then we went on from there. 3 green for 2/4 spirit. Untap with everybody else during everybody else's untap step. Kind of neat when I've got some tap things like what the hell is that guy called? Well, Molten Hydra. Cry. Experiment Cry. Because he can tap and put a plus and plus encounter something. This guy taps for mana, so that's pretty cool. What else is cool that I can tap? Ooh. Ooh, yeah. If I can proliferate every turn. Now, the thing is, I was talking about some way of bouncing or flickering my permanents. Because this comes into play, and one target player, one player, all of his creatures get a -1 encounter. Now, it only hits that guy, and it only hits the creatures he has at that time. Any subsequent creatures, if I want to hit anybody else, no. No, it doesn't hit them, because it already is in play. So what I need, if I'm going to put any flicker effects, I need something that flickers artifacts in addition to creatures. So I can flicker this, and then spread the love, spread the joy, spread the neg counters. I've got to think of how to do that. Because I have Seedborn Muse in that. I could proliferate twice every turn. Yeah, that could get really nasty really fast. So that is what's staying. Kenny is going in. I've already taken out one card. Then Inexorable Tide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So if I take out... Something is coming out for Kenny. I know that. And 2 lands. So if I take out 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. If I take out 9 cards... 4 cards... and then take these out. I wonder what kind of deck I'll have. I need to think about what to take out pretty carefully. So this, if I have the counters, this is good. But the thing is, I need more ways of getting the counters on the creatures in the first place. And this is only a 1/4 flyer. That I really don't like the art. So if it had really cool art, and it was cool looking and I liked looking at it, I would be more inclined to keep it. But it doesn't. So let's just take this out for Kenny right now. Because Kenny is cool. Kenny's sitting in a chair. He's relaxed. He had a couple beers. He's a happy king. Because he's going to work for Omnath and do shit. But what else? The question now is, what does the deck need? What do I want to do as far as making it a zoo deck? Flicker effect. Obviously, I've mentioned that a few times. Putting in, say, Questing Beast. Maybe some Planeswalkers. So these are the potential cuts. Eternal Witness might put back in. Ashling the Pilgrim. I just need to think about it. I need to think about what I want. Jugan the Rising Star. I should put it a Jugan the Rising Star. He, of course, is 3 colorless, 3 green for a 5/5 flying dragon, mono green. And when he dies, I distribute 5 +1/+1 encounters any way the hell I want on any of the creatures I have in play at the time. So he would be good. This, because I didn't read the goddamn thing, and I didn't realize it only protects me and planeswalkers, not creatures. I skipped over that. I just kind of... I'm sure all of you have done this before. You get a card, you just skim through it because you've got this other pile of cards, and you think you know what it does, but you don't. And your brain fucks with you. Your brain turns planeswalkers into creatures because you didn't read it that carefully, and you expect something like this to protect creatures. Right? It's a fog. It's a fog, so it should protect your creatures. No, I didn't protect your goddamn planeswalkers. Fuck them. Your planeswalkers are on their own. Bunch of disloyal sons of bitches.